to do it or they'll hang me. I have to do it or they'll hang me. I have to do it or they'll hang me.
Winnie Ruth Judd is now one of Phoenix, Arizona's most infamous tenants. However, she wasn't always. When she first arrived here in 1930, she was merely an ordinary woman who worked as a secretary in a medical clinic. Overnight, however, her life suddenly became most extraordinary. I followed her story right up through the end. But there are aspects of her tale that no one knows to this day, not even me. And I think I know more than anyone still living from those days. To some people, I believe they call them sob-sisters, Winnie Ruth Judd was a martyr, a victim, even a persecuted saint. To others, she was the Tiger Lady. But the woman who was to gain so much infamy didn't look like a tiger lady on the afternoon of Friday, October 16th. In fact, she was rather quiet and pensive as she sat at her desk at Phoenix's Grunow Clinic, waiting for the phone to ring. She was expecting a call from her husband, an elderly doctor in Los Angeles. Secretly, however, she was waiting for another man's call.
Jack, darling, it's so good to hear your voice. What took you so long to call me?
I told you I can't call you from home except when my wife is busy. She's cooking dinner now, so I thought I'd check on my best girl.
I suppose the most prominent man in Phoenix has better things to do than call his mistress every few minutes.
Now, Ruth, I've told you before not to scold me about this.
I'm teasing, darling. It's just this whole situation is starting to wear me down.
Yes, Winnie was talking to the man she loved, but it wasn't her husband, William Judd, a morphine-addicted doctor who was almost twice her age and living in Los Angeles. Oh, she loved Doctor, as she called him, but it was as a girl might love her father. She had only experienced this kind of paternal love until she first came to Phoenix to work as a private nurse, and handsome neighbor Jack started coming to call. She wanted him at all costs. Jack alone was the bright spot in her dull and lonely life, and so she was content, for now at least, with the crumbs of his affection.
You know how I feel about you. I've told you how important you are to me. You're my number 2 gal.
Anne and Sammy are already writing me about us. Sammy said I'm playing with fire, and I know she's right. But I don't care. It's crazy, but I don't care. I know you'll never leave your wife for me. I know I'm dreaming, but Jack, life doesn't add up to much when you're not around.
Gee, you're a funny kid. Has anybody ever told you you're crazy? Ruth, what do you say I sneak over there after dinner? I'm awful lonely tonight. I ain't got nobody.
Jackie, I have your dinner ready. It's your favorite. Pancakes, Barbara.
I ain't got nobody.
You've got your wife.
Jack! Jack!
I'll tell her I have a meeting. She'll believe it, too. She believes anything.
Hello, Ruth, darling. It's Sammy again. How are you, dear?
Sammy, why are you calling me again so soon? Well, no, of course I'm happy to hear from you, dear, but I told you I'd get in trouble for being on the phone too much as it is. What's going on?
I know you're busy, but we haven't seen you in almost a week. Why don't you come over for bridge with Anne and me tonight? You can stay the night with us. It'll be just like old times.
Well, yes, I would like to come over, but I'm just so behind on my transcriptions. I thought I'd take the case histories home with me and catch up.
Oh, Ruth, you are a bore with those case histories.
Winnie didn't dare tell Sammy of her plans to meet Jack. It would only make Anne jealous, and you didn't want to cross Anne, who regarded Jack as a ticket to parties and handouts. In Anne's mind, Winnie's affair with Jack jeopardized their arrangement. And that's how it all started. A perfectly typical evening. But unbeknownst to Winnie Ruth Judd, a deadly countdown had already begun. How could a night that was to change her life forever begin so ordinary? Where did it all go wrong? She did wait for Jack in her apartment on Brill Street, but she never heard the familiar sound of his tan Packard coming up the drive. So by 10, she decided if Jack was going to come this late, why, she was just not going to be there. And with that in mind, she decided to accept Sammy's invitation to spend the night. If she had known what was in store for her there, she would have stayed right where she was.
Anne, maybe we shouldn't talk to her about it tonight.
I'm tired of her thinking she's something special, running around with Jack and thinking we don't know it. And now she wants to introduce him to that nurse who has syphilis? He'll be finished with a lot of us if he touches her. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to lose this meal ticket. Someone needs to take that girl down a peg or two.
Oh, Ruth, darling.
I'll be right there. Sorry we lost the bridge game, Sammy, but Anne always wins. All ready for bed, girls?
Oh, Ruth, I know what I wanted to talk to you about. It's a silly business, really. Lucille Moore?
What about Lucille? She's familiar with the mountains that Jack wants to go hunting in this weekend, so I introduced him, that's all.
Well, yes, but Ruth, you know she has... Well, she... Oh, I can't say it.
I can say it. She has syphilis. Now, Ruth, what were you thinking introducing our friend to a girl like that?
We're just concerned, darling. We're not mad at you.
Oh, yes, we are. Why'd you do it, Ruth?
It's just a hunting trip.
Oh, is that what you call it nowadays? What do you think will happen to us if it becomes more than a hunting trip? Have you thought about that, Ruth? Hunting. You know as well as we do that Jack helps us. He even bought us a radio.
It's such a beautiful radio, too.
Jack said he just wanted some information from her, and I believe him. And what difference does it all make to you, anyhow?
It should make a lot of difference to you, young lady.
What does that mean?
You know perfectly well what that means. Do you think Jack belongs to you and you alone? Do you really think he likes you any better than he does us? You just better watch your step, young lady, or maybe I'll have to make a call to your husband, too, in Los Angeles. Dear Doctor, did you know that Ruth is seeing Jack Halloran every night?
I can't take it anymore. It's too much. It's too much.
If you talk to Jack or my husband, you'll lose your job at the clinic. I'll tell all the doctors that you and Sammy are lesbian lovers, and they will sure believe me when I do. Trying to blackmail me.
I did not.
And this game works two ways. If you can tell my secrets, I can tell yours. Anne, you old windbag, threatening me like that. She ought to be ashamed of herself. That'll teach you to mind your own business.
Ruth! If you dare to tell anything about Anne at the clinic, I'll shoot you sure.
Sammy, give me that gun. Sammy, honey, I wasn't really gonna say anything. It was just a silly old fight. Let's just forget about it. Sammy, give me that gun. Oh, Sammy, drop it. Sammy, no. Sammy. Oh, Sammy, stop. Oh, Sammy, this is a terrible idea. A horrible day. Give me that gun, Sammy. Let go, Sammy, that's my arm.
Operator,
Could you connect me with the Grunow Clinic, please? On East McDowell Street?
I'll connect you.
Thank you.
Reception. This is Miss Fink.
Hi, Sally. This is Anne Leroy calling.
What is the big idea of you not being here? We're needing you.
That's just the thing, Sally. I won't be able to come to work today because Sammy's brother is visiting and we have to drive him to Tucson. Can you tell Dr. Baldwin for me?
I'll give him the message, but he won't like it. Goodbye, Mrs. Judd.
Bye.
Who was that?
You've got me. It sounded like Mrs. Judd pretending to be Mrs. Leroy.
Why the devil would Mrs. Judd pretend to be Anne Leroy?
Why, indeed. Minutes after making her call as Miss Leroy, Winnie tried unsuccessfully to excuse herself from work that day. But the doctor said no, and so she went. But she was white as a sheet and so nervous and distracted that they sent her home early. It was 8 o'clock when she finally called the Lightning Delivery Company to pick up a trunk for an impromptu train to Los Angeles. Why this sudden trip? And what had become of Anne and Sammy?
They're here. I'll be right there.
Seems almost too quiet. I wonder if this is the right house.
It's 2929 North 2nd Street. That's where the dispatcher said to go.
This is the right house. Here's the trunk I wanted you to move. It may be a little heavy. It contains my husband's medical books. He's a doctor, and I'm going to see him. I needed to be taken to the train station for an 8:05 train, the Golden State Limited, to Los Angeles.
So you just had this one trunk, ma'am?
Yes. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll just be in the other room.
Okay, let's move this thing. You ready?
Yep.
You get that end, I'll get this end.
How about I get that end and you get this end?
Very funny, wise guy. Just lift.
Holy cow. What has she got in here, a body?
Quiet, Big Mouth. She'll hear you. How many medical books can one guy read? I guess it's almost 300 pounds. Hey, lady, you do know that this will most likely cost you a bundle down at the station. Anything in excess of 80 pounds costs extra to check his baggage. Just so you know.
What do you mean, extra? I don't have any extra money. I've only got enough to buy the ticket to Los Angeles. What am I gonna do if I can't get on that train tonight?
Do you want us to take it or not?
Maybe we should go.
All right. Here's what we're gonna do. I can't spend the night here. They'll be, turning off the electricity soon because we are moving away. Take it to 1120 East Brill Street. It's my sister's address. I'll spend the night there and I'll figure out something. Can we go now?
To 1120 East Brill. Oh, there goes my back.
Like you ever used it anyway.
That hurt my feelings.
Don't be mad at me, girls. Help me. I have to do it or I'll be hung. I have to do it or I'll be hung. I have to do it or I'll be hung. I should have called the police. But now it's too late. Nobody will believe me now. Nothing to do but keep running. Doctor, darling, I'm coming to you. If I tell you everything, you won't hate me, could you? You couldn't stop loving me if I told you I had no choice. I'm coming to you, Doctor. Please still love me.
Take this trunk to Los Angeles and dump it in the sea. We gotta get them out of Phoenix. If we play our cards right, you'll never be caught. There won't be any physical evidence.
Jack, I can't do it. It won't work.
Do you think you've got a choice? Just get on the train, and when you arrive, a man named Mr. Wilson will be waiting to meet you. Don't say anything to him. He has a boat, and together, you and he will sink these trunks in the ocean. And remember, I was never here.
Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson. Not coming. Now what? I'll have to go and find Burton and have him come to get me.
Ruth, you've got to tell me what's going on.
I won't. I can't. Please don't make me.
What's the big idea of coming down to the campus and dragging me out of class? All out of the blue. And what's wrong with your hand? You won't tell me anything.
Burton, you're my brother and you're going to help me. There was a fight and something happened that I can't tell you about. But I'm in a terrible fix. All I need you to do is help me get my trunks and take me to the beach.
Have you even called your husband?
No, and I won't. Not yet, anyway. I'll see him after we've gotten rid of everything. I'm going back to Phoenix as fast as I can. And the less you know about it, the better.
You didn't kill anybody or anything, did you, Ruth?
Shh! It's too late now. If you ever cared a thing about me, you'll help me now and stop asking questions. Just act normal and don't talk too much. Where's Mr. Davidson?
We've been waiting for you. Which one of you does the trunk belong to?
My name is...
May I ask what's in the trunk, ma'am?
Just personal effects, books, clothing.
They seem to contain something else that seems to be in a bad order. Too bad for you about the baggage clerk having such a keen sniffer. You stay put.
Now we're in the soup. What are we gonna do?
Okay, let's see what we have here. Just produce the key and open them up so we can all get on with our lives.
I didn't bring the key with me. My husband has them.
Could you perhaps call your husband and get him down here?
I don't have his phone number with me.
You don't know your own husband's phone number? That's a likely one.
Well, it happens to be true. Now, unless you've got a good reason.
I got a reason. Get closer to the trunks, ma'am. Put your face right up next to him and take a whiff. Can you really say to me that you don't notice anything unusual at all?
I do.
Isn't that blood on the floor, ma'am? And aren't those flies that buzz around it? And isn't that a rotten stench?
I guess I do smell something. Can I leave, please?
We'd all like to leave, ma'am. I've been instructed not to give you these trunks until they've been opened.
Well, we have no choice but to go get the keys then, do we, Ruth?
Hey, wait a minute.
Can't keep the nice man waiting.
We'll be right back.
See ya in a minute.
Uh-oh.
And that's how it started. This odyssey, this mystery. While Burton was letting his sister out of the car, the police were opening the trunks at the train station, and what they saw when they lifted the lid caused Winnie Ruth Judd to be the most wanted woman in America within minutes. Winnie didn't realize it, but her picture was already in that evening's edition of the papers. Why? Because blood-stained photographs of her were found inside those trunks. Among other things. It was only a matter of time before someone recognized her. Winnie began her search for a hiding place. It wasn't easy, with the large bandage on her hand which throbbed mercilessly in the late afternoon heat. Which way was she to go? And where could she hide?
Hey, lady! Don't I know you from somewhere? I was only trying to make conversation. Jeez.
I've got to hide.
lady! I know who you are.
Oh,
you're Joan Crawford. That's you over there on that movie poster, isn't it? You can't fool me.
Actually,
I was reading the newspaper, and a blonde butcher arrived at the train station this morning, her trunks oozing blood of her best friends.
I really have to be going now.
Ah, please, Miss Crawford. My friends won't believe I met you.
Who's that up there? She looks kind of like her. I hear they're showing something about her in the movie theater.
Movie Town News, where you get the story. Is this the face of a killer? She may be walking your street right now. Turn to the person seated beside you in this theater, and if you see this face, run for your life. She is the subject of a nationwide manhunt to find the killer or killers responsible for hauling the grizzled remains of 2 women to Los Angeles in trunks and suitcases Monday morning. Winnie Ruth Judd is the name of the woman who checked the grisly cargo and tried to claim it, then fled when asked to reveal its gruesome contents. Her brother and husband are begging her to surrender to authorities.
Ruth, darling, if you can hear this, please turn yourself in. Hiding will only make it worse.
I think she may be sick and need help. Normally, my sister is kind, gentle, sweet, and loving.
Sweet, gentle, kind, and loving. That's how her brother describes the blonde butcher, the trunk murderess, the tiger lady. But did she really do it? Judge for yourself. Is this the face of a killer?
That night she slept in a department store where she had once worked. Her dreams were fitful, for now she walked with ghosts. And the ghosts of dead friends are grim companions. She slept so soundly that the morning sun did not awaken her as she had planned. Instead, she was awoken by the sound of a key in a lock.
Now I get to see what everyone's been making such a big fuss about in this morning's paper. Let's see now. Will justice triumph in the Judd case? Ruth Judd? That's the girl who worked here. What's she done?
A tiger lady gave herself away this morning, attempted to claim 2 foul-smelling trunks, Union Station. Dismembered remains? Oh my goodness, I think I'm going to faint. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, my nerves. Bloody baggage, pelvic portion found in a separate suitcase, liver and pancreas missing. Oh, I can't take it another minute. Oh, I'm lucky to be alive. A psychotic murderess right under my nose all that time. It just can't be true. But it must be, mustn't it? Ruth Judd, a murderess.
Louise Pendleham calling.
Oh, you scared me half to death, Louise.
Can you do anything with this hair? My wig keeps coming unstuck, and I was nearly trampled to death trying to get past the newspaper boy. Well, is the depression over and nobody told me? Oh, in just hours before I'm due at a brunchin'.
Certainly, Louise. Sit yourself right down there. You don't know how happy I am to see you.
Oh, go away. Go away so I can get out of here.
Ah, you have a copy of the paper. Well, what is it that everyone's in such an uproar about?
Louise, you won't believe what I just read. It turns out that Ruth Judd, a girl who used to work here, do you remember her? Well, anyway, she killed her two best friends, stuffed them into a trunk, and tried to
As
take
surreal as
them
it
as
seemed,
baggage to LA.
Winnie listened as people discussed her and her case from the newspapers. It was as if she was Alice fallen down the rabbit hole. It was as if that train had driven her straight out of her old life forever and into a nightmare world full of Mad Hatters and Cheshire cats. Oddly enough, no matter where she went, she seemed to be protected by a cloak of invisibility, walking right past people who knew her and should have recognized her without being seen, as if she was no longer real, as if she were already a ghost. Fearing discovery, Winnie made good her escape from the store and thought of another place to hide. The Lavina Sanitarium in nearby Pasadena, where she had once been treated for TB.
Need a ride, lady?
As officials searched in vain for the Tiger Lady, Winnie Ruth Judd slept for 4 days and nights in a vacant cottage while America read about her ghastly deeds. On Friday, however, the pain in her hand was too great to bear. 4 days without food or medical care drove her to surrender. Appealing to her husband's plea in the papers, she called the number he had given, and that's how Winnie Ruth Judd surrendered to the law. In a funeral parlor.
Hey, isn't that them? Someone's going in.
Hello?
Hello. I'm Winnie Ruth Judd's lawyer. Name's Bauer. This is Dr. Judd. He's your husband.
Well, it's about time. I'm Mr. Alvarez. Come on in and try to make yourself as comfortable as possible. We're all about comfort here at the Alvarez.
Where's my wife? Has she called yet?
Calm down, Dr. Judd. Have a cigarette.
Ooh, I don't do that anymore.
It's gonna be a long night. You'll thank me later.
Everybody keep away from her when she comes out.
I want a picture of her. I feel sorry for the poor thing.
Well, your pictures for the Winnie Ruth fan club ain't quite as important, if you know what I mean.
I hope she gets away. I think she's innocent. I don't know why, but I do.
So like I was saying, she's here. Oh my God.
Doctor. Oh, Doctor, I've been so mean. Oh, don't let them hurt me, please. Please hold me.
Ruth, why did you run? Why did you run away?
Call Jack Halloran and ask him what he wants me to do. He doesn't have an alibi for Friday night.
Who is this Jack Halloran? What are you talking about?
I was beaten until I was black and blue, and Sammy had shot me. I don't know whether it was the pain or what, but I got the gun and I shot her. I shot her. I killed her.
What did she say?
I think she said she killed her. We'll make you the woman of mystery. We want you to look as sympathetic, as glamorous, and as mysterious as you can possibly be. The more they like you now, the more inclined they are to give you a fair trial later. Now, I'm going to check the house. Get away from the window. He's coming.
Quick! Pretend like we're talking.
He's looking at me. What do I do?
Winnie Ruth Judd will appear momentarily. Please do not cause a panic. She is sensational, but I do ask that you try to keep calm. We don't want a mob scene here. We do not want any more Winnie Ruth Judd mania to erupt. She's glamorous, she's cold, and she's just plain scared. She cannot give a statement to anybody. Please do not try to ask her questions.
Was that an accomplice?
Everything in good time. For now, pictures will be permitted, but questions cannot be answered until Mrs. Judd has given a formal statement.
I'd like to hear exactly what she has to say for herself. A woman who kills in self-defense doesn't hide the crime.
Maybe she was scared.
Scared my foot. To do what she did, you have to have nerves of steel. She has the devil in her, and when the devil comes to...
It's packed. Perfect. 5 more minutes and we should be ready to go.
Hold on, Bauer. This isn't a circus, you know.
It is now.
Hey, you can't sell my wife like a carnival sideshow.
I'm trying to save her neck. From what I can make out, her story is so flimsy it might be her only shot. Our best chance is to sell the star quality. I'll pay to have your hair set, and we can buy you some new duds to wear to the trial, too. You gotta keep in mind the way they think. If you're pretty, you're innocent. If you're ugly, you did it. Now, go get something. Freshen up. Alvarez, bring this lady a fur piece, a coat, something. Give her some glamour. That's what they want, glamour.
I can't wear it. This is ridiculous. It's not me.
Exactly.
Oh, she's quite the fine lady in her makeup and fur. Now I've seen everything.
Okay, people, showtime. Remember, give me mystery or give me death. Just let them imagine you're who they want you to be.
Now remember, when they come out, let me get her first.
Forget all that showtime stuff. Her hand needs immediate medical treatment. How soon can we have that bullet removed?
There's no time. The police car should be here.
Look, there she is.
Winnie, over here.
Why, she's stark raving beautiful.
I wonder who does her hair.
What's happening? Where are they going to take you?
Do you hate me?
Give us a smile, Winnie.
Show your legs.
Winnie, what happened? Did you really kill your friends?
Hey, get away from her.
I'm
It's
sorry,
yours.
but-
Why was it your gun?
Did you just touch my hand? Winnie, don't
Winnie,
worry.
what did you do? What were you fighting about? Can you do a dance step?
What was your relationship with the victims,
Winnie?
I was in a fight.
Winnie, shut up. Stop talking to them.
But they tried to hurt me. There was an accident.
Everyone says you were lesbians.
Oh.
Was that an accomplice?
She didn't do it.
Why did you kill them?
Why did you hide your crime? Why the pelvis in the suitcase?
Why did you put them in boxes?
Who is the mystery man?
Who the hell are you?
Why did you hide your crime?
Lesbian.
Stop talking. I said no comment.
Oh, listen.
Why did you murder your best friends? The police are here.
Everybody to the police station. Come on, you guys, let's go.
And so the days began to pass as Winnie learned to sleep in a jail cell and await her fate in court. Because Sheriff McFadden liked her, he allowed her family to visit her more often than was typical. Still, despite these kindnesses, Winnie knew she was in a sepulchre of the living dead. Her fate was now in the hands of strangers. Would they let her live? Would they believe her story? If not, only a death sentence awaited her. There was no doubt about it. Winnie Ruth Judd was a bona fide celebrity. Newspapers wrote daily about what she wore, how she set her hair, her pet likes and dislikes. It was almost as if the world at large had forgotten she was accused of murder.
Movie Town News, where you get the story. Winnie Ruth Judd's hairdo is making more news this week than her crimes. Last week, Mrs. Judd, in an unprecedented move, refused to appear in court unless she could have her hair freshly set. It seems the copper blonde butcher woman feels a responsibility to look her best. Making more hairy headlines, Winnie got her wish when her cellmate set and waved her hair. That girl is Miss Daisy DeVoe, hairstylist to the stars. It seems Miss DeVoe worked for everyone's favorite flapper, movie star Clara Bow. Mrs. DeVoe is in jail for embezzling money from the boss with the bee-stung lips. Bad girl, Daisy. But you do a great finger wave. It even has a name, the Eugene. Where is Mr. Cat? Authorities believe that there might be a living witness to the trunk murders besides the killer or killers. Unfortunately, you have to speak kitty cat to get the story. Is there a translator in the house? Mr. Cat was the pet of the 2 girls who were slain, but he cannot be reached for kitty comments. Cat-like herself, Mrs. Judd has been quiet as a sphinx since a mystery fund of $20,000 appeared in her name from an anonymous donor to aid in her defense. This mystery fund lends credibility to theories that the tigress has friends in high places. But who would spend this kind of dough to control her defense? It's food for thought. And if that story wasn't juicy enough for you mystery lovers, sink your fangs into this breaking news. A confession letter has been found by a scrub woman in the toilet of the Broadway department store in Los Angeles, apparently written by Mrs. Judd herself while hiding from the law. Ripped into pieces and addressed to her husband, the drainpipe letter discloses the full account of Winnie's deadly fight with her friends. Apparently, the confessing cutie thought better of telling her husband the full story and decided to destroy the letter written on telegraph blanks. Too bad about that nosy plumber. Next time, flush twice.
I have a confession I've kept for you for life. Because I was so happy with you and I loved you, so why tell you? I am crazy. But only when I'm very angry or too tired physically. My brain goes wrong. One obsession I've always had is wanting or saying I had a baby. First, when I was 7 years old, I wanted a baby at our house so bad I told at school that Mother had had one. And such cute antics it did, far beyond an infant's ability. When I was 16, on my birthday, a fellow I was going with and I had split up. I was furious my girlfriend was the cause. Curiously, I liked her just as well. We chummed together. But this boy's cousin antagonized me by crowing that someone could take him from me. So finally, as so many unmarried girls in that part of the woods were having babies, I conceived of stating I was, and I would make Fred marry me if necessary. I was 16, he was 26. Fred Jensen never touched me. All 3 of us were yet in our pajamas when the quarrel began. They would tell Jack I had introduced him to a nurse who had syphilis. Said, Anne, you've got no right to tell things from that office. I threw my hand over the mouth of the gun and I grabbed the bread knife she shot. I jumped on her with all my weight and I knocked her down in the dining room. Anne yelled at us. I fired twice, I think. And Doctor dear, I'm so sorry. Sammy shot me. Whether it was the pain or what, I got the gun and I killed her. I killed in defense. Love me yet, Doctor?
All this brouhaha hasn't done much to tarnish Mrs. Judd's popularity with the public. She is reportedly besieged with marriage proposals, flower deliveries, and hundreds of requests for visits and interviews daily. Maybe even an offer for a movie contract. Hey, why not? She's got the looks.
But inside the walls of the Gothic courthouse, people remembered all too well that Agnes Leroy and Hedvig Samuelson lied cold in the ground. The world waited to hear that story from her own lips. But as the trial began, they heard it instead from everyone else's. To everyone's surprise, Winnie never spoke at all.
This court is now in session.
When do I get to talk?
You'll get to tell it, honey. Just follow me. Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as many of you probably know, my client has already made a number of so-called confessions which are a matter of public record. We are not going to attempt to prove or disprove any of those statements. After I present our gallery of character witnesses, including the defendant's own family, you will have little choice but to find her not of sound mind, and thereby not responsible for anything that may or may not have happened that night.
Winnie's trial continued along the surreal lines of a circus played out in some bad dream. Everyone, from her family to her friends, and many people she did not even know, were called as witnesses. Jack was there as a spectator, but never called as a witness. And it was then she began to understand what was really happening. He had never planned to help her, was never going to help her. Her agreement not to speak at her murder trial had been part of his plan to erase her. The papers had a field day with her, of course, even going so far as to send a noteworthy astrologer and psychic to her cell to question and examine her, then report his findings to the papers, as everybody profited from what she had in essence become, an exhibit.
Are you going to ask me questions?
None that I cannot ask with my mind, and which you cannot answer with your mind, Miss Judd. I want you to relax now, Miss Judd, as much as you can, and look into the crystal ball. Your whole life until now has been struggles. I see financial struggle. I see struggling between the body and the mind. I see something else. You were ill as a young girl and sought refuge in fantasy. You became attached to this fantasy life, so that, in a sense, you choose to remain sleeping. Like any sleepwalker, you are apt to get into trouble and often have. Look into the crystal ball, Winnie Ruth Judd, and open your mind. There's a window in your brain. When it opens, you see life objectively. Then it shuts tight, with hands that are not yours. And you see only what you hope is true or what you fear is true. Around October 16, I see that you were likely to commit a crime under suggestion, hypnosis, or narcotic of any kind. Or maybe someone deluded you into the idea that you had committed a crime. You are very suggestible. You are shielding someone, aren't you, Miss Judd? You are hiding someone or something. Hiding someone or something.
So I say, gentlemen, I have viewed this issue from what I consider start to finish. I realize, as was made plain from the start, that this young woman stood before the bars of justice, her life and her liberty hanging in the balance. I have before me the jury's verdict that will decide the fate of this young woman, whether she goes free or not free, whether she lives or dies.
You told me I'd have a chance to tell my story. You lied to me.
Shh, don't worry. It's better for you that you didn't. Just watch.
I caution you all that I will not tolerate an outburst when this verdict is read. Is the jury satisfied with their decision?
We are, Your Honor.
Stand up, Winnie Ruth Judd. Have you anything to say?
I have something to say. I have this to say, that whether I'm sane or crazy, neither of those girls was murdered in any bedroom.
Please, Mrs. Judd, you had ample time before this.
But there was no blood in that bedroom. They didn't talk about where they found the blood, and if people think I killed them in their sleep, there would have been blood found in that room.
Please, Mrs. Judd, I have the kindest feeling in the world for you, but it will do you no good to...
There's this. I was shot first. What about that? Sammy shot me, and Anne was doing her best to kill me with the ironing board. The jury needs to know that before two girls were killed, there was a fight. A terrible fight. Mr. Bauer hasn't told any of that. They just talked about whether I'm crazy or sane.
She's about to be condemned. Don't even look at her from now on. It's bad luck.
I've heard just about enough out of you two.
Did you hear the brazen thing?
She spoke right to us.
Jack Halloran, you liar.
I am losing my patience. Those are all matters out of this record. You had ample time to speak before, if you wanted to speak, and you have not.
Mr. Bauer told me I'd be given the chance to speak, and every time now I wanted to, they've stopped me. And now there's a verdict, and it's too late. Too late. How can a jury make a fair decision if they don't know the details of the fight? They gagged me to protect Jack Halloran.
Mrs. Judd, your attorney's defense strategy was your own responsibility. Now, any more, and you will be removed from this court.
It's a bit of notoriety to hang a woman. They don't do that in most civilized states.
The jury of this court has found you guilty of murder in the first degree. Under sentence of this court, the superintendent of the state prison shall herein confine you until the 11th day of May, 1932. And between the hours of 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. on said day, you will hang by the neck until you are dead. And may God have mercy on your soul.
And so it seemed that Winnie Ruth Judd was destined to be hung on Wednesday, May 11th of 1932. Ordinarily, hangings were performed only on Fridays. However, to avoid further sensationalism, Winnie's execution was scheduled for Wednesday, so it would not fall on Friday the 13th. Winnie was never allowed visitors on death row. Her cell was only a few feet away from the first of the 13 steps that led up to the hangman's noose. Death was now her constant companion.
Wealthy Phoenix businessman Jack Halloran got pulled into the cat fight today when he was indicted to appear at the Winnie Ruth Judd trial. All along, Mrs. Judd has claimed that Jack Halloran aided and abetted her in a cover-up of the crime. Halloran told reporters today that he's anxious to go clear up these pesky rumors and clear his good name. He claimed that Mrs. Judd's allegations were nothing more than a woman's desperate attempt to save her own life.
I'm guilty of nothing more than indiscretion, and it will be a relief when people leave me to my golf game and stop asking me questions about 3 girls who never meant a thing in my life. They never meant that to me. I'm a good guy with a good family, and I love my wife.
That's right.
Good luck, Jack. May the best man or woman win. Mr. Halloran, do you know or are you acquainted with Mrs. Judd, sitting right over there in this courtroom?
I am.
And how did it transpire that you made that acquaintance?
I met Mrs. Judd when she was working as a nurse next door to my family for a time. I helped her move her things over to Ann and Sammy's house when she moved there in the summer. I met the girls, and thereafter I would sometimes go there with friends to play poker and visit them in a general way.
Did your wife ever accompany you on these excursions?
She did not.
Were you involved with Mrs. Judd or either of the girls in a romantic way, Mr. Halloran?
I was not. Sammy was sick with tuberculosis, bedridden most of the time, and without funds. She enjoyed listening to radio plays, and her radio was broken. So I bought her a new one to cheer her up.
It wasn't because I wanted to get rid of her that I said it. It was so that I could keep. It was so that I could keep. It was so that I could keep.
Winnie, darling, do you care to dance?
You are my only honeysuckle. I am the bee. I like to sip
Can a man not give a woman a gift without being accused of adultery?
But no one has mentioned adultery, Mr. Halloran. No one but yourself.
Now listen.
Sit down, Mr. Halloran.
Did you or did you not see Mrs. Judd on the night of Friday, October 16th, 1931?
I did not.
Did you not come to her apartment on East Brill Street and drive her to the death house?
I did not.
Did you not advise her as to how she should proceed after her fight that night and in the days immediately thereafter?
I did not. And if people want to believe hogwash simply because it makes for better gossip, that
is their own affair.
Devil.
Mr. Halloran, I must caution you to answer the questions directly, or you will be found in contempt of court.
Mr. Halloran, isn't it true that you were having sexual relations with Mrs. Judd since Christmas Eve of 1930?
I was not. I'm a married man, a faithful man, with a beautiful wife and a beautiful family to support. Why would I go and get mixed up that way with a girl like her?
Jack Halloran, you liar! You coward! He was with me that night and every night for weeks before the fight. He bullied me that night, and now he's too big a coward to tell everything. He knows what he did. He is responsible for the deaths of 3 girls in the state. Anne is dead, and Sammy is dead, and I'm gonna die too.
Mrs. Judd.
You want to let him go and hang me for something that he did
Please,
when I
Mrs. Judd.
shot in self-defense and he...
Quiet in this courtroom.
He doesn't care that I'm just going to die.
Silence in this courtroom.
He just sits and laughs about it.
Winnie Ruth Judd, you have pushed me to my limit. Remove her from this courtroom.
Friday, October 16th, 1931. That day changed your life forever, didn't it, Mrs. Judd? Describe, if you will, the events immediately after the argument in the bedroom.
I went out into the breakfast room with my glass of milk, and Sammy came running out with the gun pointed right at my heart. She didn't look like herself at all. And I said, Sammy, don't. Give me that gun. Give me that gun. Give me that gun. And that's when the first shot was fired. The one that went through my hand. I was certain I was going to die, so I set about getting the gun back from her. Sammy, give me that gun! Stop it, Sammy! I will brain you. Give me that gun, Sammy!
Shoot her, Sammy! Shoot her! Shoot her, Sammy!
Sammy! Sammy, give me that.
Shoot her now! Do it now! Shoot her!
Jack had finally come. Too late to save me. If he'd only come when he was supposed to, I never would have gone to the girl's house. Now he was there and I had to tell him what I'd done. But when I did, he didn't believe it. He laughed. I said, no, Jack, they're dead. Anne and Sammy are dead. He dragged me off the porch and he took me to the back of their house. The lights were still on. Anne and Sammy were on the floor. The first thing Jack said was, "Oh my God, Sammy!" And he knelt beside her and he checked her pulse. He said, "You killed her." He didn't say anything about Anne. Then he asked me what I was planning to do about it. I answered that I didn't know. I just wanted to get to the doctor in Los Angeles and have him take the bullet out of my hand. Then he asked me something funny. He asked me what the fight was about. I told him that we were fighting about him. And suddenly he said no.
No, you're not calling your husband. You're not calling the police either. Don't you understand what this means to you and to me? I can't get mixed up publicly with you three. It will ruin me. Think of my wife, my family. I can't afford a scandal. I've got an idea. When I helped move you here, there was a big steamer trunk in the garage. Is it still there? You're going on a little trip, Ruth, with Anne and Sammy. I'll need a few hours to get your trunk packed.
Jack, no, we can't do that. I just want to see my doctor.
Stand up. Look at me. Now you get this through your head, sister, and get it straight. This is my game now, unless you feel like taking a drive to the police station. Don't believe me? Whose gun did you use to defend your life with again? It was yours, right? The little one your husband got you? I know because I helped you move that too. Do you think for a minute that anyone's gonna believe you had to shoot them in self-defense with your own gun? Then you ran from the place. Didn't even call an ambulance or the police, did you? Look how much time's gone by. Even if you called them now, don't you think people will wonder what took you so long? I'm sure neighbors must have heard the gunshots. They'll know you were thinking. You were thinking of hiding the crime.
They were trying to kill me!
Stop it! You're hysterical!
Jack, stop it! What's wrong with you? I want my husband!
Ruth, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm in a kind of shock, I guess. Listen, kid, there's not much I can do, but I want to spare you the noose and myself the agony of a scandal. I have connections. I have a friend on the board of pardons. He can even overturn a death sentence and reduce the charge so you only do a few years maximum. Only a few years, Ruth. And then your whole life free. And then maybe we can get together again and be happy like we were. Look what you've done to Anne and Sammy. Do you want to break my life too? Oh, prove you love me. Do it for me, Ruth.
I think I'm gonna be sick. I was sick, delirious. I didn't know if I was awake or asleep. Everything seemed to be a bad dream. I hate this lousy day. Three girls died that night, Mr. Bauer. Sammy died, Anne died, I died and kept on living. The trunk is almost ready. Jack was picking up Sammy to bring her into the bedroom. He said that he couldn't get her into the trunk, that she would have to be operated upon to make her fit in the trunk. He carried her into the bedroom and put her on the bed. And he said that the best thing for me would be to go home, that I was all shot and needed to rest for my trip the next day, that he would take care of everything. He had a doctor friend he would call who owed him favors. I have enough on him to hang him, he said. He'll do what I want, he said.
She did do wrong in attempting to hide the circumstances of these events, but she did not murder Anne Leroy or Hedvig Samuelson.
Oh, if I see her in my neighborhood, I'll do it.
You two gossips, stop that talking.
She killed them in self-defense. And if she didn't kill them in cold blood, then there is no crime of murder for my client Jack Halloran to be an accessory to.
That's right.
Therefore, I motion that this case be dismissed.
What does this mean? What happens if they agree?
Then, Jack walks and you hang, Tootsie.
But they can't. I've told you all the truth. I've told you what I intend to tell God when I commit suicide.
Mrs.
He's
Judd.
the supreme judge.
Silence!
If you're ready to hang me for something that Jack Halloran did,
Silence!
then you are no better than criminals. Criminals!
Please sit
The
down.
judge said, "May God have mercy on your soul."
Mrs. Judd.
I haven't got a soul. They've looked at me and questioned me and photographed me. All they're going to.
Quiet in this
And I'm not
courtroom.
going to let them take any more pictures of a corpse.
Order! Order! Court will take a short recess to consider this motion. Remove her until she can be quieted.
Winnie, dear, I have great news.
What?
They accepted the petition for you to have a last-minute insanity hearing.
What?
Darling, don't you understand?
No.
The warden signed a paper saying that he was of the opinion that you were mad.
What?
That's all they needed, Ruth.
I don't know.
You've got a second chance to live. Great news. Great news. Great news. Great news.
Winnie Ruth Judd was declared legally insane today with a last-minute insanity trial. This decision overturns her death sentence, and Winnie Ruth Judd is now free to live the rest of her life in an insane asylum, with the stipulation that if she ever regains her sanity, she must immediately be hung. Who says dreams can't come true? Congratulations, Winnie.
By some miracle, Winnie had managed to cheat the hangman. Everyone said she was free now. The county hospital where she was sentenced to spend the rest of her life was to her not freedom at all. It was just one more cage. But something good finally happened to Winnie there. There was a nurse who liked her so much that she gave her a most incredible present. Winnie Ruth Judd was caged, yes, but she now had in her possession something that probably kept her from losing her mind in that place. The key to the front door. Winnie was confined for 41 years in the hospital and managed to escape 6 times during her sentence. Once for 6 years. Then, in 1971, she was unexpectedly paroled and released. At 66 years old, she left that hospital to begin her life as a free woman with a new name. Now you know the story. The real story. Not as some people would have wanted it to be. Not as others might have feared it was, but how it really happened. to a girl named Winnie Ruth Judd. It's over now. October 16th in Phoenix, 1931. Three best friends are fighting. Sammy pulls a gun. Winnie, don't pull the trigger. Now look what you've done. Anne is braining Winnie with an ironing board as a club. Winnie aims the barrel and hits the floor with a thud. She used to be on luminol, now she's on the run. Did this old train ever move so slow? On her midnight voyage with strange cargo.
Calling all cars, calling all cars. Arrest Winnie Ruth Judd. She is suspected of homicide.
But the trunks aroused suspicion when their contents started to bleed. Lady, can you open these? I forgot the keys. She walks outside and vanishes. The tiger woman flees. Run, Winnie, run. Run, Winnie, run. Run, Winnie, run. Run, Winnie, run.